Coast Avengers. West Coast Avengers.
There's only one mantra that you all need to know. That's that one over there. See Todd, bye Todd.
Oh, did somebody say see Todd by Todd? Well, look at that. I was reading an article called See Todd by Todd before the show started. I don't know who wrote it. Oh, wait. It was me. Good evening, everybody. It is me, your fearless Davenger, Davey Davenger, the scourge of the someplace. Hi. West Coast Wednesday. I hope everybody's doing well on this new comic book day. It's a fun week. It's been a very busy week, and it is only the middle of the week. And I know you all are like, yes, Dave, I can look at a calendar. Well, so can I. Let's say hello to some friends in the chat, the Chisel chat, the Chattity Chittle, the Chickadee China, the Chazzy Chicken, Christopher Deschambeau. I hope you're well, my friend. The Pope is here. Who knows if he's going to stick around all night? Probably not. He's got life to live. He's a young buck. Hi, Tyler. Bob's in the house. What's going on? My nerdy brethren. Ian Gonzalez in the house. Hello, Ian. Good day to you. Tom's in the house. Well, howdy there, partner. I'm just going to do a different hello. Derek Neiman's in the house. Hola, ¿cómo estás? See Todd by Todd, see Todd by Todd. See Todd. Oh yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah, it's been a busy week. I have a wall full of stuff that has to do with recordings this week. Well, not all of them. One I have to fix the wall for Friday. But throw in the shade. What's up, Kurt? Hope you're well. Hey, what's up, Andrew? I cannot wait to see the Otomo book whenever you've got process stuff to show off. Just started reading John Constantine. Hello. Hellblazer 1988 series, John Ridgway art is, it's funny. I must have read up to the 75th issue. It's like Jamie Delano and then Ennis. And then does Mark Miller take over writing duties after Ennis? It's a great series, Hellblazer. Random Access Dreams in the house, otherwise known as Rad. Happy Wednesday evening. Yeah, it was a good day today. I recorded an episode. Noah Goines, who is a great ambassador for comics, had me on his podcast, and we recorded today. And Monday night, I recorded with a little known comic book creator. His Daniel Warren Johnson, I think his name is. Oh, yes. And I got another one coming up this week with somebody else. And I'll talk about that in a second. Erwin, Papa, what's up, brother? Hope you're well in the LBC. Well, boy wonders, what's going on? See Todd by Todd. Oh, thanks, nerdy. Thanks, Bob. I had a great time with Abby. Let me grab that book, actually. I'm gonna be right back. Here I come. I'm back. Okay. So yeah, on Direct Edition this week, Abby Denson was my guest. This is her new book that came out yesterday, My Tokyo Summer, illustrated by Utomaru. And it's about her, as a young adult going to Tokyo for the first time, publishing a comic with her friend Yuko, and they did Comiquette together. But it's a lot about the DIY and the punk aesthetic. Anybody can enjoy this book. Your kids, I enjoyed it. I have no kids, so I'll just die alone. But it was a great interview and a great book. Yeah, DWJ, super underground artist. Yeah. Lefty, what's going on? West Coast Avengers. Jim's in the house with coffee. Call me a sucker foo. I'm gonna get you, sucker. I swear DWJ is better win the Eisner for best song. I don't think, is he nominated? Was that issue nominated? I mean, that issue's amazing. I'll talk about that interview in a little bit. We'll watch the trailer for Chain Kata, his new book that comes out in November. Grizz, what's going on? My collecting goes through peaks and valleys, Skinbreaker, and some John Byrne X-Men from the 80s, and that's it. That's a really narrow two things. Come on, Jim. You need a little more in your life. You need a little spice. You need a little paprika. But yes, thank you to everybody that watched the Abby Denson interview. And if you do want to check out this book, like if you have kids, it's a great book to give them. But like I said, you'll enjoy it too. I read it twice and the art's fun. And if you've been to Japan, like there's an added bonus of enjoying that a bit. If you lived in New York or you went to punk shows, like there's a lot to love about that book. And then on this channel, I did the See Todd Buy Todd episode, which went literally less than 5% people watched. So I don't know. I don't know what the algorithm does anymore, but I'm still going to chug a little along. Anyway, before we talk about collecting and stuff, the Daniel Warren Johnson interview is my best conversation with him on record. I did read the first issue of Chain Kata, and it is fantastic. We talk about that for about 45 minutes, and then we talk about a lot of other things, including the Absolute Batman issue, golf, art, what we're each reading. I mean, we probably talked about wrestling a little bit. But next week on the podcast, Brian Michael Bendis, and me and Brian talk. It's like a 2-hour, 20-minute interview, and a lot of Miles talk. A lot of talk about it, creator-owned stuff, and just comics in general. And I mean, look, I know there's people that, I don't think you could blanket statement that Bendis is like, you may not like some of his stuff, but there's so much that he's done that is so great. I mean, his Marvel stuff, that 20-year run of like Avengers and the events and Alias and Ultimate Spider-Man into Miles, like it's some of the best superhero books ever written. And then Powers is great. But that's a great interview. I enjoyed talking to Brian. He paid me a very nice compliment after we were done that really made me feel like I'm doing the right thing. He was just like, I like your energy a lot. He's like, I love talking to people with the energy that you have. And I was just like, well, right, Daredevil. I forgot about Daredevil. There's so much that Bendis has done that's great. And then Yatasha Womack, who wrote the Marvel Age of Comics on Miles, is the next interview after that. So if you're a Miles Morales fan, there's gonna be a lot of Miles Morales talk in the next 2 weeks in whatchamacallit, in a direct edition. I need to spice it up. Guilty. I have way too many hobbies. Typewriters, watches, leatherworking projects, World War II reenactments. Jim, I don't want to know what we want to. I'm not trying to make fun of you, but it's like World War II reenactments. Are you about in Pearl Harbor? What's happening? Anyway, that's cool though. Typewriters and watches and leatherworking. I always kind of envied people that could do leather stuff. I've known a couple of people in my life that make belts and wallets and tan hides and make leather, that kind of stuff. That's a lot of hands-on stuff that's really cool. So that's interesting, Jim. That's right. But that was an advertisement that they used. It was kind of a weird one when he came to DC. Oh yeah, 27. That's a book, Kurt. If I ever have him back on the show, I have to ask him if he penciled that or just inked it, because I think he just inked it and Burden penciled it. All right, let's see what we got. Chicks, Chainsaws in Space. What more can you want? Seriously, like, you'll hear it on the podcast. It'll be out the day after San Diego Comic-Con. It's on the 27th. And I don't spoil anything, but I do talk about 2 double-page spreads that are in that first issue. And like, when everybody gets that book and sees it, they're going to lose their shit. Yeah, he's a Portland guy. So yeah, he used to come up to Emerald City a lot. Bendis got me back into Marvel in college. Yeah, me too. Me too. It was him and Miller and Ennis that kind of sucked me back into reading Marvel stuff in the Marvel Knights era. Today I read World War Hulk. Great fucking storyline. Amazing art from JRJR. Planet Hulk. Yeah, yeah. I read them both, and they're both excellent. But like, World War Hulk is so good. Torso, right? There's that body. There's that body. There's that book. Alias, right? Oh, you're looking forward to Bendis. Okay, Tom. Gotcha. What's going on, Marco? Marco, we were talking about DWJ, baby. I never read Torso, but there's a lot of Brian's work that I still haven't read because there's so much of it. What's up, Andrew? Bought my first original art piece this week. I would never have thought about OA. What did you buy, if you don't mind me asking, or just the artist or whatever? And look, I hope people. I know Marco has dipped his entire left leg into original art, and it's good to do it by like a little bit at a time because you want to wait until pieces come available, and it's like. It's a fun game to play, and I enjoy owning art. I really do. I didn't buy anything this week, which is fine because Heroes set me back a bit. Iron Man 7 cover. Oh, you bought it from the Felix drop. Cool. I'm assuming because I know they did the Stegman drop this week. Who's my favorite Hulk artist? That's a good question, Chris. And by the way, shout out to Chris. We had lunch today. It was nice to see you. I mean, McFarlane is default. But long-term Hulk artist. That's I mean, I like Sal Buscema's Hulk, and I didn't know it, but when I was younger. And JR. I mean, I can't get, but once he said Planet Hulk, like that's kind of embedded in my mind as one of my favorite Hulk arts. I mean, I like Trimpe, but I didn't grow up reading Trimpe. So I also say McFarlane, Buscema, and JR off the top of my head. I've never been a Dale Keown fan. I don't dislike Dale Keown, but of that era, he was the guy I was the least interested in. I actually like Jeff Purves a lot. Yeah, he does that to people. One of the first things I read of his was that Avengers run where Tony gets the gauntlet, and it was JR penciling. John Romita Jr. is probably my most understated favorite artist of all time. I don't talk about him a lot as being one of my favorites, but he is because like the chunks of work that he's done that I've read, whether it's the Spider-Man run, whether it's Daredevil with Ann Nocenti, or the Batman Punisher. Was that Klaus? That was Klaus. But either way, there's just so much JR I love. Bob said that I'm great at helping him find new ways to spend money. I've introduced to several new artists. Well, look, I mean, I'm introducing people to work that I'm not like you spending money buying a whole bunch of stuff or buying original art from someone else. Like, I'm just trying to share what I love. That's really what it is. Chinkata. We're going to watch the trailer in a moment. Good evening, Adrian. Actual Dracula in the house? I will check it out. I really hate the current dogging on JR. Look, you know what's interesting about that? That is that's the internet. People don't, I mean, there's one or two people I know personally that aren't fans of JR, but the internet just took that and ran with it without Marvel ever saying they were going to, cancel that cover. Like it's all Bleeding Cool's fault. Anybody that I wouldn't respect somebody that doesn't like JR. Period. Like you're just neglecting, or you're just like throwing away a piece of comics that is so integral to comics, because we are now in the fifth, sixth decade of his work. Yeah, 6 decades. I kick myself for not buying original Kirby Black Hole. Ooh, yeah, I can understand regret like that. I mean, I had the opportunity to buy some stuff when I was younger, but I was too young to realize like that's what you should do with your money, Dave, because the comics you'll be able to find forever. The art you won't. It's not even about monetary value. Sure, that's great, but it's like the ability to buy, like you said, Kirby new strip art, it's never going to happen again. Not at a price where you're going to, you know, feel it. Steranko, well, Steranko's got top 3, one of the greatest Hulk images of all time. Like it's an inarguable fact that giant king size Hulk is one of the greatest comic book covers of all time. Like I'll even push it further. One of the greatest examples of what a superhero or superhero art or comic book art can be. Yeah, there's a lot of greats on Hulk. I mean, Kirby, Steranko, Trippy being like the longest running one. But even like Jeff Loeb. I love Jeff Loeb on Hulk Gray, and Corbin on Banner. Yeah, he is. And he's got right like all the history that's not just the history that he's single-handedly been part of, but the history that he's been around with his dad and all that. Yeah, it's so good. He really does. And he deserves flowers for like also, I mean, like, I can't think of anybody like he's got to be the longest tenured Marvel artist at this point. Like I believe he's probably worked at Marvel or with Marvel longer than Kirby did. And longer than most people. So I love and his X-Men run. How could I forget his X-Men run? Anyway, his line art is very open to interpretation. So, well, yeah, and him and Klaus have done some great work together. Yeah, but I love looking at his pencils. And then obviously Scott Hanna in the more, the last 30 years. There's a few anchors who I don't enjoy. JR simply needs to slow down. And so does Klaus Janson. Hit the like button for Dave. Hit the Dave for the like button. Nathan Campos in the house. Oh, yeah, that's right. JR was inked by Al Williamson, which is, some beautiful stuff. Oh, that's Infernal Hulk, right? Yeah, his Hulk stuff's amazing. Nick Klein. What's up, Joe? Yeah. Yeah. There's Snowball's chance you would get John. I have tried, Jim, and I've talked to him in person. He is very open to it, and I never can ever get an email back from his son. I've emailed like 4 or 5 times. So I don't know. I loved Kick-Ass. I love seeing his sketch covers too, like his pencils on that. Yeah, JR, Punisher, Cable, 2 of the like craziest JR books. So yeah, this is a JR fan channel for sure. I still have one of his pages for sale if anybody's interested. I have 2 pages from the same Amazing Spider-Man book. One I'm keeping and one's for sale. Let me do a little bit of housekeeping before we, just kind of like talk and keep going with the chat tonight. So next week, Bendis, a direct edition, nearing in, I'm about 5,000 subscribers cross platform, but always looking for more. Have a recording with Che Grayson this week. So she's going to be coming on the podcast. I've got, Matteo Scalera coming back next month. Lots of fun stuff and lots of stuff I'm working on coming down the line. This weekend on this channel, there'll be a haul video. I did like a day of going around hauling stuff. I may pull back the videos on this channel and just kind of go bi-weekly, but we'll see. But the Patreon just got a Japan video that I filmed, and it will never be on the regular channel. It's just like a quick 12-13 minute video. I got a long direct edition rant coming, or just kind of like a catch up one on the Patreon. $5 a month gets at least 3 bonus videos a month, plus most likely a 4th. And then this month is one of the months where there's going to be a private sale for the Patreon. That'll probably be coming next week. But check this out. I wanted to share this. It's finally off the ground. I wanted a way to kind of sell stuff outside of eBay. So I opened up my web store on the West Coast Avengers website. I'll be updating it with a lot of stuff. There's about 50, 60 items on there. Pay by credit card, that kind of thing. But yeah, I want to let everybody know that's open. I'm going to try and phase out my eBay store and try and get everything on here. There's art, comics. There's going to be a lot of stuff on here. Just think, I kind of modeled it after, I kind of modeled it after what Sean does on japanbookhunter.com. So, and I tried to make this stuff kind of the same price that I would at a claim sale. I'll be losing a little money on the payment stuff, but it's not an amount like, it would be on eBay. So we'll keep that store's going to be open, and it's open now. I mean, there's going to be a lot more stuff on there soon. Besides that, I also opened a little TeePublic shop here where I'm going to be doing whatchamacallit. I'm going to be uploading different designs and stuff. Right now, it's just the links in the description below, teepublic.com. Right now, I just have the See Todd by Todd and the West Coast Avengers logos up, but it's not just shirts. Like there's hoodies, there's all that kind of stuff. I think. Oh yeah, it's all here. So I make a little bit of money, but it's not a ton. But I look at it as like a way to get people. It's like free advertising. You buy a West Coast Avengers shirt and you wear it and all that kind of stuff. But to be honest with you, it's just to try and offset the production costs on the podcast. That's really what it is. The comics is still going to be my main job, if you want to call it that for now. Yeah, I think he's definitely worked there longer than his dad, at least on books and stuff. Yeah, it's got to be close. Well, look, here's the thing. If I ever get a chance to interview him, I'm going to ask him. 50s through the 90s, right? Thanks, Marco. Yeah. Look, here's the thing. It's just, yeah, the podcast still operates out of my pocket, right? The Patreon, I get a little money from the YouTube episodes, but I got to just at least have a place that people can go and buy. So if you can't be there live, like you'll still have a chance to buy books and stuff like that. Yeah. And the thing is, Jim, I've been doing eBay since 99, and it was, what is about 5 years ago, they really pressed on the algorithmic shit that we all have to deal with. And like, I'll have stuff up there that's got like 10 views, but it's got 20 watchers. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Thanks, Derek. Thanks, Chris. Did I see the Emmy nominations? Oh, no, I didn't. That's awesome. I know that they came out today, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II was so good in Wonder Man. I mean, honestly, he should have won an Emmy for Watchmen if he didn't. But yeah, that's awesome. I'll check out the Emmy noms after the show tonight. Zelle is a zero fee because it's bank account to bank account. That's why I love Zelle. PayPal, Venmo, that's why I do friends and family, because there's no fee on my side. But like credit card fees for, I think the website are like 2 to 5%, something like that. It's under 10%. So it's like, I didn't even price stuff up because it's already like, when I put something on eBay, I price it up to try and account for the fees somewhat. But knowing that people have to, like you're still paying taxes. But I lowered the price of most things when I put them on the website, because it's just like $1. I don't care. But it's when you lose like $6 on an item, that's when I start to get upset. I know you retired in the 90s, but he'd still pop back in. Okay. Well, it's something that I can ask his son. Go get yourself some Dave merch if you want your face on a shirt. Maybe I'll do that. I had no idea Sean Japan Book Hunter's inventory was so solid. Oh yeah. He's because he's in the thick of things. He's in Japan where this stuff may be out of print, but bookshops will have it. He knows where to go, and he knows what to look at. He reads Japanese. He can look at a book and know exactly what it is from 2 shelves away. Thanks, Ian. Yeah, I'm trying to make the site a centralized place. You can watch the current episode of either this channel or Direct Edition. I need to make sure that I'm easy to find, and I can, monetize, my website by having a store on there. Ewok in the house. That would be hilarious. I could have somebody design that. That would be fun. I did get new stickers. So there's going to be direct edition stickers in everybody's packages going forward for the next couple weeks, which is nice. Um, and the next step in this, which I'm keeping all of you informed just because you're the tight community, is like I'm courting sponsors for the podcast. And once I can get that, then I can ease up, like really ease up and feel better about the podcast. Because working on some big guests, and I want that to be the focus, not the, oh shit, this podcast is costing me money. Speaking of great guests, Raymar Brunson in the house, a guest, a community member, and a fine artist. What's up, George? Where's Ghost Avengers? So, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, let's watch the Chain Kata. Let's watch the Chain. If you haven't seen the trailer for Daniel Warren Johnson's new book, well, why don't we watch that together? How about that? And then we'll talk. All right. And start.
Chain Potter.
So yeah, like I said, I've read this first issue and it's so badass. Like one of the pages that I was so impressed with, like a piece of that is in the trailer. But he's been working on this for 9 years. Like I can honestly say, like, you guys all know I've done a lot of interviews that I was very excited for. I mean, every interview I'm excited for, but some I've been more excited for than others. I don't think I've ever been this excited to share one as the one that I recorded with Dan this week, because we talk about the book like spoiler free, but we go and just kind of get into it. And he is like, he's a little nervous about how this book's going to be. Like he's worked on it so hard. I'm like, dude, if I could speak for a community of people that has read his books and enjoy his work, like people are going to lose their shit when they read that first episode and that first issue. And like, he's like, you don't even know what's coming, I want to wait until the episode drops, because there's a lot of cool information that he gives out that isn't out there yet about the book. Well, he's been getting into synthesizers the last couple years, so that's why it's a heavy synth vibe on it. Yeah, there's pieces of, he's a big Fist of the North Star fan. So I don't know about Chainsaw Man, but he's a big Fist of the North Star fan. So, those vibes are in there. It's crazy. It's a black and white book, basically, with just the color in the way that you see it. Yeah, the music it is kind of perfect for that. Right? Dude, I saw somebody I think it was on Instagram or one of in the comments, like, chicks, why isn't it just women with chainsaws? And it's like this. It's like this. You can't even explain people that stupid. You can't explain anything to them. Heavy Metal 2000 came out to mind. Yeah. Heavy Metal 2000 wasn't that great, but yeah, there's vibes of that kind of, yeah, feeling like that. Yeah, that's what I said. I'll wait for the interview to drop because we talk about that. But those colors in there, yeah, Dan did all that. Because if you've never watched his channel and his live show, like he's been doing pages like kind of out of context live on YouTube for over a year now. And we've seen him do some of the coloring, but like y'all know, I got into it with him and he explained the entire coloring technique and what he's been using. So the process nerds plus the regular nerds are really gonna dig into that. No, Joe, it didn't. I spoke to Heroes last week. They came back, all the employees came back from the event. Two of them were sick for a while and like he apologized, but he says it's in good hands and he'll keep me updated. Chicks with chrome bikinis, lizards and ray guns, and a lot of blood. It sounds like a great B movie from 1985. It does. Brad, it is. Exactly, Zoe. Like, I mean, I could certify it. The first issue is a certified banger, but like, I don't know where the story's going, but the first issue gives you a bunch of different like kind of questions to yourself. And he's like, you don't even know. He's like, you don't even know. And I have faith in him. I mean, he hasn't even come close to letting us down with anything he wrote. There's so much, even The Moon Is Following Us, that he didn't do all the art, but there was so much emotion and such a interesting story. What's up, Joshi Poo? I hope you're well. Yeah, lots of Tetsuo Hara energy in there. Me too, Nathan. I'm excited to rewatch it on the, after the edit and after Phil does his production stuff, but I'm so excited to unleash it. Women with women's saws and women's space. Right? It's like nuance, Zoe. It's like chicks with chainsaws is is it an alliteration, right? Isn't that an alliteration when you use the, like that? But like it's Danny Warren Johnson. He's literally like somebody like that doesn't understand that it's Danny Warren Johnson, the guy who wrote a comic book where Batman beats the fuck out of white supremacists. And you think that maybe he's I don't know. People are just dumb. Oh, you know it. You know it. You know it. Yeah, Jim, I'll be live next Wednesday with a live sale for sure. And then I think I'm gonna try and get the Patreon sale out next week. So it might be like a Monday, Wednesday situation, right? Let the man have fun. Exactly. Because it's like you want a tagline on a poster, chicks with chainsaws. Okay, maybe the person who commented is just afraid of women. It's very possible. There's a lot of people out there on the internet that are afraid of women. Why is anyone just questioning for fun? Exactly. Yeah, Machete Kills. I loved Machete, and then I think I tried to watch the second one, and I couldn't make it through it. 7677. Is that what's 7677? I'm missing, Chris. I'm missing on that. Daddy, would you like some sausage? Hello, Samuel. Ask him if you could let a buddy that works in the comic shop have an early read. I mean, I can ask him. You could also. We'll talk, Brad. We'll talk. Yeah. Okay. It was. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that wasn't just me. It's exactly how I feel about Shaolin Cowboy. Just go with it. Daryl can do no wrong. Oh, I love Jeff. Jeff's the best. I hope everybody enjoyed the interview with Jeff. Because I sure as hell did. I finally watched The Furious last night, which was awesome, which is a movie that he was talking about the first interview. And or maybe it was the last interview. That was a fun movie. If you like movies like The Raid or, those kind of crazy Ong Bak, crazy martial arts movies, check out The Furious. What's up, Brandon? Hope you're well, brother. Almost got rid of your stickers. Hope Chuck is doing well. Calvin Yetimus, my friend. Yeah, Ian, it was great. I watched it last night and I didn't realize that what's his name was in it. Joe Talisman. Oh, he's great. Taslim. There you go. Yeah, he's awesome. I'd love to interview that guy. He seems like well, he's talented as hell, but he seems like a really genuinely good person. That's right. He was there 2 years ago. And that was that moment that I had where he knew who I was and I was like, "Oh, oh." Dude, didn't it get yeah, I think it is getting a Criterion Collection release. Saw it at a theater, part of my bachelor party. Okay. Right on. Oh, I didn't Sam, I didn't you were on Read Your Comics? I guess I haven't seen the new video. Me and Daryl are gonna be doing a video together pretty soon. Um, I'm gonna be doing a couple of collabs that I hope all of them pan out this year because it's gonna lead to some really interesting stuff if it works. Oh, I wanted to show something off that I'm reading, or I read the first volume. This is part of the manga haul from my buddy MJ's Storage Locker, which you'll see some more of that this weekend. But I got this book, Wandering Island, by Kenji Tsuruta. Tsuruta. I think it's only 2 volumes, so I got to track the second one down. But the art's fantastic. It's a very I don't know, like quiet story. It's an adventure story in a way, but it's got a lot of quiet moments in it. But the art is fantastic. I mean, sure. I mean, I'm a guy, so I could, enjoy a story where a, female lead character is in a bikini, but that's not why I loved it. It just very well drawn, great story. For anybody that can track copy of this, and this, I'm going to get the second volume eventually. This Dark Horse published this in 2016, I believe. But this is the kind of thing that I like about manga is that there's room for stories like this. There's, it's not just like, I don't know. I feel like manga has a wider breadth of kinds of stories that are part of, I think it's 2016, 2017, that are just kind of part of the storytelling. It's not like in America, if I want something, I've got to track it down and find a publisher that carries stuff like that, Fantagraphics or, what's the one out of Canada? Well, somebody help me. Something and John and Quarterly. It's just tough to find stuff that like strays really far from the norm, because the norm on Marvel DC is superhero, right? And then the norm on the indies is like sci-fi, fantasy, horror, but there's not a lot of just kind of quieter stories. I don't know how to describe it. Daryl and I shoot it twice because he forgot to hit the record. That's happened to me once, Sam. It's not a fun feeling, let me tell you. The actor in the Furious, how do you say that? Zhai Mao was in the 1995 movie My Father is a Hero. Oh, is he the bald guy in the movie? Or is he the guy that plays the main character? The mute. The guy who's mute. Yeah, Slice of Life. Yeah, Slice of Life. Where this book, Wandering Island's not exactly a slice of life, but there's a component to it that is very much a slice of life. Like a component of like a slice of life from an obsessive compulsive person. And that's one of these. Like, this is a slice of life book in a way. It's a story that has a beginning and an end kind of, but it's more of it's like autobio slice of life. I just miss comics like that. I've read, I mean, Tom has written, I can't remember the name of the comic that you gave me, but the one that you gave me was very much a slice of life in a way. I like that because I think the people that kind of do those books, they're more hit than miss, because you can relate to it in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, okay, if he's Jet Li's son, that makes sense, because you saying that kind of makes me like he resembles him. Yeah, Westerns, I mean, I know you love Westerns, and I can count on, 1 or 2 fingers, maybe 3 of the Western comics that I've read, and one of them is the one you gave me. And then like American Vampire, which, at least the beginning of it's a Western. Um, but yeah, I titled this "What Are You Collecting?" just because I'm kind of curious to see like how people's collecting habits have changed over the last couple years, because mine just really shifted into two things that I talk about a lot, is obviously art and manga. But I'm just kind of curious just to hear what people are into these days in the collecting space, like reading space, collecting space, whatever, but something that you actively try and find, maybe an artist or whatever. Just read Fearless, just read Fearless Dawn #1 shorts, which may not fit that description, but feel good and interesting. Okay. Fearless Dawn 1. Let me I just grab my pen here. I will say I just read a book today yesterday, from Fantagraphics, which was funny. It's something that I enjoy, comics that really make me laugh out loud. Sam or Tom or people, Ian, if you haven't checked out Nick Thornburn's Pear Shape, it's like a 67-page book. It's fucking hilarious. It'll remind you of Crumb. It'll remind you of like the underground stuff that'll make you laugh. The kind of something that's Fearless Dawn short. Okay. Like some self-depreciating humor. But I'm working to get Nick on the podcast. He's a musician and a founding member of the band Islands. But we're going to talk, I pitched him to talk about music and comics. But anybody that's into the underground and really wants to laugh, check out Pear Shape from Fantagraphics. Did I ever? Rio. It's funny. If I've flipped through Rio, I've never read it. I think I have the signed hardcover, and it might actually be on eBay. But the art's at least great, and Doug Wildley's great. He created whatchamacallit? Aqua Teen Hunger Force. No, C-Lab. What was C-Lab a parody of? Somebody tell me. So many comics I haven't read. Overwhelmed a bit. Oh, Chris, I'm still overwhelmed by comics in general, manga especially. Darwin Cook and Jordy Bernays runs on Jonah Hex. I think that's coming out in the reprinting an omnibus of that. I've heard Andy, I don't know if Andy's in here. I know he talks about the Darwin Cook, Jonah Hex, Misa side note. I think I think it was Misa. It's in a box. I could look later, but I have a box of all the books that have been given to me since that Eddie Pecan, since the first Eddie Pecan, and it's full. So I have to start a new box. But that's like kind of keep, like Sam's books are in there, Raymore's books are in there, like just so I have them centralized in a place where it's like, oh, this person gave me a book. This is where I have it. I've read it. I put it away. As far as comics, mainly early Spider-Man, which, yes, and a select amount of certain artists, plus anything unique that jumps out at me. Recently grabbed the Clover Kickstarter where the strips, right? The I know Daryl covered that on the channel. Yeah, and what I like about you, Tyler, is like I've watched you in the 3 years you've been, being in this community, buying books for me, like trying stuff and getting excited about stuff. I mean, honestly, like it's been a goal of mine is like, okay, I had this person on the channel. I'm going to sell a bunch of their books. I want to see who's interested to explore that person now that I've interviewed them. It's like real life, I guess influence, like without the scummy undertones of that, it's like how many people are going to pick up Chain Kata just seeing that trailer. You're definitely going to pick it up after watching the interview. If you weren't a DWJ fan. Yeah, Ian, you're going to love the book. I mean, like 67 pages. I think I left at all but like 6 pages of that book. Jet Li doesn't have a son, only has a daughter in real life. Her name is Jumbo Jet Li. That's terrible. He only has a daughter in real life, but played his son in the movie. Okay, that's what it was. I had to pare back on a lot because I was spending too much. So right now I'm focused on the nostalgic Marvel horror, which I know. Yeah. And I know that if I put it out at a sale and you need it, you get it. and somebody else scoops it if you don't. Johnny Quest, yes. Which wasn't Johnny Quest like the basis for C Lab, or am I just conflating the two things? The first manga I truly needed to have the whole collection was Dorohedoro. Such a great adventure, such an excellent resource. That's Q Hayashi, right? Zoe, if and I'm reading I haven't read Dorohedoro. I'm reading Die Dark right now. I'm on the third volume. It's fun and funny and irreverent. How do you say that? Is it like Screed? Scared? 5-volume manga with some wicked artwork, pretty good story. Trying to find out how to print Wildstorm books, especially the Travis Schrey artwork. Manga Jing King of Bandits for the artwork. I see the Travis Schrey stuff somewhat often, but it's usually like this the Wildcat stuff. I know that's what people are trying to find. Nathan, I have a box. I'll dig through it and see what I have. Fool Knight. I don't know Fool Knight. It's Q Hayashida. I don't know what I said. It's a huge thing for me. You've opened up so much. I'll watch your interviews. Are like, fuck yeah. Well, I mean, that's how I feel, Tyler. When I discover somebody new, like eventually I'm gonna have Jeffrey Allen Love on the podcast and Chris Condon, either together or separately. And I just discovered Chris's stuff. I knew who he was because of the one book, but I hadn't read it. Brad Zamboni from Nirvana Comics sent me a signed copy of News from the Fallout. And as soon as I finished reading it, I was like, okay, it's time for me to track down all of Chris Condon's work. And I started reading his stuff. And then I met Jeffrey Allen Love, who was the artist of News from the Fallout at Heroes. And I bought one of his books, and I'm like excited to keep going with his work that was published by Flesk. And then we talked about doing a commission. I gave him a commission idea, and he loved it because he'd never done one before. And I'm looking forward to whenever I'm able to pull the trigger on that. Well, hey, Tyler, the feeling's very mutual. Feeling is very, very mutual. Yeah, the thing I like about Die Dark, even though I'm still early on it, is that it's very well drawn. You know, his artwork's amazing. Q, I'm assuming Q is a he. I don't know, but it's got that sense of humor, like I said, irreverent, kind of gross, like toilet humor, and it's layered enough that I'm like really enjoying, being ready to read the next book. But I will get to Doro at some point, because that's contained, like you said, 5 books. That's cool. That's good to know. Yeah. It's definitely, I've looked at it. I just haven't picked it up and read it. Yeah. The adult. Okay. So C Lab was its own thing. Yeah. The Adult Swim C Lab episode with the drugs, I'll put in like, a good TV show. And I don't want to digress too far into TV shows, but a good show, whether it be Broad City or there's these episodes within the pantheon of a show. There's always a good drug episode, and that C Lab drug episode is my favorite. Like I used to get high all the time, like smoke a bowl and just watch that because it never fails to make me laugh. Okay, Venture Brothers was inspired by Johnny Quest. Right. Of course, Alex Toth designed it. Didn't he design everything? I've been going back and reading miniseries I missed during my hiatus from collecting Earth Divers, Dead Mall, Witches. Dustin, I should reread Witches. I don't know. I do know what Earth Divers is. I've never read it, and I do not know Dead Mall, so I'll have to check those. Fool Knight. Okay, sci-fi mystery. Wait, really? Q. How do I say it? Q Hayashida. Really? I didn't know. That's good to know. That's the thing. I was having, like I said, I recorded with Noah Goins today, and we were talking about representation in comics and like on the creator side. And like, well, with the initial Q, there's no way for me to know. But we were just talking about like when I was a kid, I had no clue what creators look like except the image guys. Like I didn't know who was who. And now it's a little easier to know, because we were talking about the DC blackout and we were just talking about different aspects of it. And like, yeah, it's just the interesting to know that that's a woman. Yeah. 13-year-old humor mixed with a lot of heart and silliness. Yeah, it's a good way to describe it. It's like a unicorn craft a rainbow. Yes. Yes. Oh, we could talk about that. Oh yeah, we can talk about that. I won't spoil. I don't ever really like to go into spoilers, but the 4th episode of X-Men 97 dropped today, or maybe it was yesterday. I watched it this morning. Maybe my favorite episode yet. The coldest ending to an episode, probably of an animated show I've ever seen. I am going to try and there's somebody, I won't say who it is because I don't want to jinx myself, but there's somebody involved in that show I'm going to try and get on the podcast that's, that I'm excited to talk to if I can get them on. Hey, that's what I do. I said it today, I think when I was recording the intro or the outro for this weekend's episode, like I wouldn't sell comics. I wouldn't be doing what I do if I didn't absolutely love the medium. And I'm glad that like I turn people on to stuff. Seriously. Oh my God. The way it ended, I was just like, wow. Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's been, like I've been on record as to say, like, I was talking with my friend the other day, and if you're my age, if you're in your mid 40s, or maybe not, you don't have to be in your mid 40s, but like when I grew up, it was at the tail end of the Claremont run. It was Silvestri, and then it was into Jim Lee. And I would pick up Uncanny X-Men. I had no fucking clue what was going on. No clue. They were in the Outback and Gateway. I had no clue what was going on. And then into Jim Lee's X-Men, still had no clue what was going on because it was just kind of not that. You couldn't just jump into it. Wolverine, different story. Wolverine books were great, easy to get into. Like the storyline would keep evolving and stuff. Weapon X obviously being a different thing, but I never really clinged on to X-Men as a reader. I clinged on to it as a lover of the art, the characters, the toys, the cards, and the animated series. This X-Men 97 and last season may be the best X-Men stuff ever written. Just across the board. It's not a garbled mess of like 12 storylines. You don't have to know what happened in the X-Men original animated series to really get what's going on. Like everything is just so well fine-tuned to what, Kirby, Stan Lee, Chris Claremont, John Byrne, all those guys created. And it's like, let's throw it all in a blender. Let's take elements of the storyline and let's make a very, very streamlined show that is true to the characters and true to the original, stories and what they were trying to say with those stories. I'm so impressed by how good the X-Men 97 cartoon is. It's making the 46-year-old handshake with the 13-year-old and say, you're going to get it. Don't worry. Exactly. I mean, the best X-Men book in the last 25 years, really, that's why Grand Design was so good, because Ed was able to distill it. Even though when you read it, he couldn't make sense of some of it. He tried. The art made up for some of the nonsensical storytelling. It was like the longest running soap opera. The cartoon focused so many narratives and drama with great action. Yeah, damn near perfect. But yeah, the comic, and like the thing is I no shade towards Chris Claremont, but like some of the art just totally outshines the stories. I mean, through that entire run from 94 all the way to 300, I mean, it's like, it's Cockrum, it's Byrne, it's JR, it's Paul Smith, like there's Silvestri and Jim Lee. But yeah, see, and Tyler, like Spider-Man's gotten the best treatment, I think, story-wise in the video game, in the 3 PlayStation games, but I think a lot of Spider-Man throughout the whole existence of the character spins its wheels in so many ways that like not a lot, like when a lot of people, and I am not one of those people because I haven't read all of Amazing Spider-Man, but there's a lot of people that say that like once Gwen Stacy died, that's kind of like the last interesting thing that happened in Spider-Man. And then Venom, I think is the best thing, but then, it didn't last long enough. But the animated series for Spider-Man, I liked Friendly Neighborhood, but I wouldn't call it like a masterpiece. What was that? I like went Southern for a second. A masterpiece. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. Where I think that Spider-Man 2, the video game, is a masterpiece of storytelling. But look, at least we get X-Men 97. It's literally the best thing that Marvel's doing right now across the board through everything that they're doing. And I hope that turns around soon. DC is really reigning supreme. But the indies are really, really kicking ass and taking names. Like I said, I read News from the Fallout. I picked up the first 2 issues of The Peril of the Brutal Dark, which is Sean Phillips and Chris Condon writing. Charlie Adler's doing the new series with Chris Condon. What's it called? Not of the Earth? No, not of the Earth. Let me look it up. Chris Condon, Charlie Adler. What's it called? Oh, come on. Oh, it is Of the Earth. That's a good series if you like Western and horror. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. Brett Bean, obviously, I am head over heels for Dork, and Brett has done such good stuff in those first 5 issues. I can't wait to see what he's got cooking for the next, 5 and so on. I've been going back to Claremont run on X-Men Elsewhen. Right. The new release, the John Byrne stuff. He's at his best when Paul Smith and J.R. were drawing the book. Yeah, those issues. And then it's like you get the Barry Windsor Smith villains in the middle of those runs. But yeah, I know there's a lot of one-off stories in that that I've picked up and read. Because, I probably have 5 of each issue of those books. But yeah, one-offs with the X-Men make more sense. And then maybe once in a while you do like a big thing. Yeah, it's so good. I don't know if you've read it, but it is really good. Oh yeah, of course. I'll go see Brand New Day. Nope, not Brand New Day. Right now, and Chris, you won't see it unless you're part of the Patreon, but I talk about the movies that I've seen this year in the new Patreon direct edition episode. And besides the Odyssey, I just got my tickets for the Odyssey. I'm going to see it in 70 millimeter. Obsession was so good. The bar is so high for movies right now for me, for the theater. It's like, oh, I feel bad for anything that's coming out that isn't the Odyssey because it's not going to add up to Obsession. Friendly Neighborhood was serviceable, and yeah, the games are awesome, but I would love a continuation of the 90s show. Yeah, I went back and watched a couple of the episodes, but I don't remember how it ended. But I can watch that. Panosian just wrote a Western. It releases in a few weeks. Oh, that's cool. And then he's doing that Wolverine mini after that. That should be cool. Did I pick up the new Eye Collector? No, I did hear about it, Brad, but I don't think I noticed it on the stands today. Did it come out today or did it come out last week? I can go see if I can get a copy of it, though. It's crazy because I'm the least interested in a lot of mainstream comics, but the stuff that's good is incredible. Absolute Batman. Yeah, and DWJ. Well, right. Absolute Batman has been far beyond our wildest dreams for like the best book. Absolute Wonder Woman is right behind it. Martian Manhunter just finished up and it's incredible. And I'm sad that it's done, but I understand you can't. Ongoing wouldn't work for that story. Catwoman, second issue came out today. That was fantastic. DC is just wiping the floor. Batman, Fraction and Jorge. Yeah. Glad the original movies from fresh young filmmakers. Yes. Yeah. I still haven't seen Backrooms, but Obsession was just so fucking good. All right, Brad, I'll see if I can pick up the Eye Collector. Panosian book is called The Dirt Beneath the Devil. First issue releases 29th of July. Okay, cool. I I liked whatchamacallit that you gave me, Canary. Black Canary, Canary. Just Canary. Canary? I think it was just Canary. Really good. Absolute oh, yeah. Yeah, what was I gonna say about movies? Damn it, there was so oh, yeah, I'm really excited for the Odyssey. I haven't missed a theatrical release from Nolan, period. Well, I found out about him from Memento. So I haven't missed a theatrical release from him ever since then. And starting with Batman Begins, I saw every film of his in the format it was supposed to be in. It, and the only bummer is that like the main IMAX in Seattle is because of fucking capitalism, because stupid whatever. Fury of Firestorm has been awesome also. I've heard that it's really good. I've never read a Firestorm book, so it would be you know, that would be a first for me. Unpopular opinion, but I missed the New 52 era. I only read Batman in New 52, so I mean, I'm like batting 1,000 really. I tried Justice League. I thought it was garbage. I tried a couple, but I mean, to each their own, you know? Like there are a lot of people out there, TB, who love the New 52 era. I don't throw shade on it. I just wasn't reading a ton of it. That era, New 52, I remember where I was the day that Batman came out. I walked over to Midtown Comics because that was my store. And yeah, I was reading a lot more Image and Indies almost exclusively, except that Batman book. I didn't mean to dial. I wasn't a butt dial. I was trying to text somebody and I hit our text thread and then called you, which is like a butt dial. Get me a ticket to see I can't go to San Diego. It's in like less than 2 weeks. Frankenfran. No, I haven't, James. Is that translated here? And tell me a bit about it. I did that at DC during New 52. Glad the Dan DiDio didn't. Yeah, it seems more and more the more you hear about it, like Dan DiDio did a lot of people wrong. A lot. I know people like the Swamp Thing, the Jeff Lemire Swamp Thing from that era. I never read it, but I heard it's pretty good. And then didn't Snyder take it over? Or maybe Snyder started it and then I don't know. But yeah, around that time, 2014, I think, or 2011. No, it was 2011, 2010. I was reading Sex Criminals, Saga. I think I was reading Invincible in hardcover. I think I was still reading Walking Dead, but I was doing it in the compendium. So I was doing the 50 issue ones or the omnibus or whatever it's called. But yeah, I was mostly Image during that time. You want to know the shame of it? Is that I remember, oh my God, it makes me think about this whenever I think about that era of my comics collecting. When I was like had a pull list at Midtown because I worked 10 blocks away or whatever. I walked in the week that Spawn 227, whenever he homaged Hulk 340. I walked in there that day when that cover was on the stands. I was like, oh, that's cool. I wish I was still collecting Spawn. I would just snag that. Oh, it's like $100 book now. I have one, but it's just funny that I looked at that. I loved it. I was like, I love Todd, but I'm not buying Spawn. So why would I just buy it for the cover? Because I was never really a cover buyer. I was a reader buyer. But the good thing is, the smart thing was, on the flip side of that, is when the Art of Todd McFarlane book came out, The Devil in the Details, he did a signing there and they had signed books, the hardcovers like left over from the signing. And I saw that. I was like, yoink. And I still have that copy. Okay, Snyder started the Swamp Thing. Oh, you guys are talking to each other. Swamp Thing run attempted to retcon the elements of the Alan Moore run. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why would you retcon the run that put Swamp Thing in the pantheon? It's one of the greatest runs of all time. The Moore, Bissett, Toddleben run. I heard San Diego Comic-Con became less Hollywood lately. I know there's definitely including more elements of comics. What's interesting, I bet you this year they do lean heavier into the comics because DC, I mean the success of the Absolute line is giving DC like the room to be like, yeah, we can be at all these cons now. We can have a really heavy presence, and Skybound's doing very well, and they've got a lot of hits on their hands, and he's got Terminal coming out this month. So yeah, it makes sense. Oh, Joe, that's cool. You were in New York today, or you just bought from them on the internet? Frank and Fran is translated horror comedy. Fran is a doctor who tries to help people but ends up that's cool. All right, Frank and Fran, let me write it down. I might have seen it before, but I didn't know that's what it's about. That's really funny. Oh, you're in New York. All right, Joe's Pizza, Union Square, the single best slice in the city. Or if you have time and you can get in there, make a reservation, or go in, Ruby Rosa. It's the best Italian food in New York City. Ruby Rosa, Rubirosa. It's because there hasn't been a Hall H for. Oh, that's right. Well, yeah, the Marvel's got a heavy slate, and I think DC's going to announce some stuff that nobody knows about. We got Jim Rugg to dissect Weapon X. What's on your wish list to see Jim Rugg dig into? Ooh. I mean, yeah, I know. I want to see him write a book on, let's say, a Velvet Glove wrapped in iron, right? Is that what it is? Velvet Glove. Velvet iron glove wrapped in velvet. You know what I'm talking about. I'd like to see him do like a book dissection on Klaus. I'd like to see him do a breakdown on an artist like Stephen Platt or something like that. Velvet Glove Cast in Iron. Yeah. I don't know why I couldn't remember the name of that book. Thank you. I love that book, and I don't know why my brain was like not giving me the title. Man in the Iron Velvet Glove Mask. I love that. Yeah, I'd like to see Jimmy do something about Klaus. I'd like to see him write about Klaus or Jeff or or Platt. Even though Platt doesn't have enough of a bibliography like those, like those two do, but I still think it would be fun to see him write about that. I won't say what it is, but I just pitched another article to Comics the Magazine and it got approved, so I have to start working on that. I'm enjoying like this idea of dissection or talking, like writing or talking about an artist in my specific way of doing it. How awesome was that book? Exactly. That's exactly how I read it before we recorded the podcast. Like when I had read that book, I could hear the excitement in Jim's voice. I could hear him. Yeah. Yes. Ooh, that'd be fun too. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool to see Jimmy do like a little book maybe on that, first. I mean, keep going with the Marvel Comics Presents. And yeah, write about Sam Keith. I'm interested to see. I hope though that book line does well. They've released, I think, 6 or 5 books altogether. So, oh, awesome. Thank you, Joshy. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was really like it until you see it in person. For me, I mean, it was just like, oh, cool. It's a thing I'm doing. And then I see this and I'm just like, wow, I did that. With also got to give a shout out to my OG homie, Joe Scar, who designed that for me. Yes, you do. It's a fantastic book. It'll get, like I said in the interview, I mean, I wasn't being hyperbolic when I said that will give you a greater appreciation for the Weapon X, but it'll make you appreciate comics in general so much more. And I know you don't think you need it, but when you feel it, then you're like, oh, I needed that. It was such a enjoyable book. But Yeah, me and Jim are going to do something later on this year. Like I said, I'm going to do a collab video with Daryl from Read Your Comics soon. We've done a bunch. This one's going to be a little bit of a new territory for me. We're going to be doing a Gil Kane video. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I've got a couple more, I think, coming along the way, copies for myself, but I'm glad you were able to get one. If I could write a book in Bloomsbury's Marvel Age of Comics line, what Marvel comic would I write about? Ooh, well, it's interesting. One single issue just comes to mind, but I don't think it would be enough for me to write about is like, I forget what Wolverine number it is. It's Wolverine. It's the last issue that Mark Miller wrote. R.A. Andrews illustrated it, and it's like Wolverine in Nazi Germany in a concentration camp. But that's just the first thing. I would pick. Okay, I mean, I think the obvious one for me would be Adjectiveless Spider-Man, Todd's run. Even though like he's, fully will be transparent about like he wasn't a great writer. It's either that. There's three. I'm gonna give three. Todd's Adjectiveless Spider-Man run, the Galactus trilogy. So, Fantastic Four 48, 49, and 50, or stretch that out to Fantastic Four 48 through 50 and Infinity Gauntlet 1 through 6. Or my dark horse, not the publisher, but my dark horse one would be Spider-Man Blue. I think Spider-Man Blue, Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb, I think it's like the best Spider-Man story that encompasses like the Ditko era and like the Romita Ditko era and that storytelling. And they basically took that and retold it. I think, that one of those three would be it. Finally completed 1 through 16 Eclipse Miracle Man series. Not an easy one to put together. And realize how much it had fallen in price over the years. I think 15 still, up there, but yeah, it's not, it's just hard to find sometimes. So especially like 10 through that last issue. Yeah. Oh, he's doing Chromium for Terminal 1. Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's a cool concept of like Kubert, Finch, and Art Adams doing the arts and him and Joe Casey writing. I should be getting Art Adams on the podcast towards the end of the year, which will be nice. We've talked about it. He's open to it. Seemed like he was actually down for it. Yeah, he's a huge influence on comics, and we're going to be doing like a flip through review kind of look at the new Fantagraphics Gil Kane collection that's coming out. The Ben Grimm one. No, well, I mean, I do love This Man, This Monster, which is 51. I could include that, but I feel like that's been dissected, or it's got that sequel from Alex Ross, but I really like 48, 49, and 50. The introduction to Silver Surfer, introduction to Galactus. I think it's the best of the Kirby Marvel books. Like, there are great Kirby Marvel books, but that storyline, that introduction to those characters, and Stan was really invested in Silver Surfer, and I just really love those three issues. There's a lot to talk about with Todd's Adjectiveless Spider-Man run, not just the book itself. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm sure they're going to get somebody to write that book. I don't think it will be me, but maybe. I don't know. I've written about Todd. I've interviewed Todd. I've done videos about Todd. Am I the Todd expert? I mean, he might say, he's like, I don't give a shit about me, bud. Would you ever want to get James Harren on Direct Edition? I would. I need to read more of Harren's stuff. I should have introduced myself at Heroes. But yeah, I'd like to talk to Harren. I'd really like to get Trad Moore on. I don't know much about Steve Mannion. Is that how you say it? Mannion? Mannion. I think I follow him on Instagram. He's a great artist. I just don't know much about him. And the thing is, the podcast really works for me, and I think it works in general when I have a vested interest in the person that's on. Like, it's unfortunately why I have to kind of just, I've had to tell some people no. It's just, what are we doing? You know, I can't talk about your work if I'm not a fan. It's just not how I operate. I just wanted to apologize again for the whole do a power bomb variant. Oh, you don't have to apologize. You know, dude, it's not. I was just like, I missed one. Oh, I did that. So it was more like you gave me like that temporary FOMO. It's all good, dude. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you do, and I like watching your stuff. James Harren and James Hetfield on Direct Edition would be amazing. I don't know if James Harren is a Metallica fan, but oh yeah, I am. Most of his stuff, Steve, is on Asylum Press and Indie Planet. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've seen his work because somebody must have posted one of his commissions once or a piece of art, and it was like an instant follow. I was like, oh yeah, I got to check this guy's art out. I should have Canetti hook me up with Danzig. I don't think they still have a connection, but I'd love to have Danzig on. I mean, he's one of my, like, that list of musicians in comics that I really want to crack that. Danzig, Kirk Hammett, Rob Zombie, Adam Jones, Method Man. You know, there's a pretty big list, but there's like 5 or 6 big names at the top that I would love to get. Yes, I watched that the other day. It was a great conversation. I'd love to have, I mean, obviously I'd love to chat with Klaus. I think chatting with him, I'd have to do a bit more research and probably an angle that he would be interested in talking to me, but I'd love to talk to Ari Aster, because I love his movies, but I didn't realize he was such a big comic book fan. And, you know, oh, that's cool. Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy. It's just like I was talking to Jeffrey Allen Love, and every time that Harren was alone, which was very wasn't often, I was in conversation. So I wasn't going to just be like, I'm going to go talk to this guy, you know. Do you listen to Amon Amarth? No, I never really, I've probably seen a video or two of theirs, but it's not something I ever listened to. I know who they are because I have friends that listen to them, but it's not a band I ever got into. Oh, he did? Oh, interesting. Maybe I'll track that down. Yeah, Ian, I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, look, I know people that know him. We know he's a big comic book fan and a big art collector. I don't know. I just don't know if he would do an interview like this. Yes, I'm working on Scott Ian because he's got Z2 has an Anthrax book coming out. I know Scott's obviously a huge comic book fan. And yeah, I'm working on getting him on. I think he would be somebody that I'd have a very enthusiastic conversation with. I've met him a couple times. Super nice guy. I haven't. Like an idiot, I was like, oh, I'll pick up the copy next week. Then it was gone. Then it was out of print. So it's coming out back in a second print. So I'll pick it up when it's back in print. I mean, I've seen Kayfabe covered it. I used to look at Byrne's website somewhat often and see the pages that he was putting up. But yeah, definitely interested to read it. Oh, so much. Same. Did I ever look up the Aster? No. Gotta write that one down, Brad. Strange thing about the Johnsons. Aster. I think, you know, I've emailed Jamie, his wife, through the website 4 times. Never got a response. So I just got to try again. I just need a Swamp Thing 1 and 7 to finish my Bernie run. 1 is always going to be a little bit pricey, but they're not super hard to come by. I've had 1 probably 4 or 5 times for sale, and 7 I've had a bunch of times. That's the Batman issue, right? I mean, at least he's not a piece of shit like Morrissey is. You know what, Bob? I reached out to the publicist, his old publicist recently. They gave me somebody through his website to reach out to. Didn't get a reply, but I'm going to follow up. Yeah, I'd love to talk to Kevin Smith. I've been a Kevin Smith fan since I was 13 or whatever. I mean, like, I don't love everything he's done, but that's okay. But I love his passion. I've always been a fan of how passionate he is about comics and movies, obviously. I didn't know that. I know Giamatti collects books. I didn't know he was a big comic book guy. Okay, yeah, that's what I saw. I saw that come across my feed. I'll watch that. I would love to talk to Paul Giamatti. He's pig vomit. When Jim announced his grand design book, I was thinking it was going to be Spider-Man, but it wound up being Hulk. Yeah, that would be cool. I think, but the thing is with Jim, Jim's always been a big Hulk fan, so I think we got what we got because he loves Hulk. I'll see him this weekend, John. So I'm gonna try. I'd love to get both of them on. But separately might be the better way to go. But I don't know. Like I feel like getting both of them on, just talking about music and like the punk scene and like the meshing of punk and comics, and it would just be such a fantastic conversation. I've never read a ton of Love and Rockets. I love their art. I love looking at their art, but I've never read a ton. I've got books, I've got sketchbooks, I've got the cover book. So yeah, it would be awesome. Oh, Brad, maybe I'll hit you up about that and some other stuff that I'm looking for. Yeah, we can talk. I know you. I got your number. Tell me more about Morrissey. Fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit. He's always been a piece of shit. We all know that Johnny Marr is the real heart of the Smiths. Even if the music, we like the Smiths, as my friend Kevin says, rest in peace, Morrissey. He died about 35 years ago. Just watch Clerks, and I got to say it instantly. Clerks is a classic, hands down. Yeah, he's somebody I'd love to talk to. Like I know we'd get along. We'd have a good conversation. Yeah, I feel like he would be like the Bendis interview, which will be out next week. I'm just kind of say a couple of things and I just line Bendis up and listen to him because like he's the storyteller, and obviously I'm here to bring that kind of vibe to the podcast. If I do get him, ask him when. Dude, Daryl, I stopped waiting for that book about 10 years ago, which was 15 years too much. Yes, I know, Raymar. I know. Oh, I know. What about Robert Valley? I don't know who Robert Valley is, but let me write his name down. I mean, my list is long. Yes, Johnny Marr is an international treasure. Anyone ever collect Lieutenant Blueberry or Young Blueberry? I mean, I've had the Blueberry books before, but I like looking through them just to see the art, but those I usually sell. I get them every once in a while. I'll get like a collection that's got like a stack of Lieutenant Blueberry, like the oversized, not hardcover, but soft covers. Clerks and Chasing Amy are probably my favorites of Smiths. Yeah, and I mean Mallrats. His first four movies are, to me, are like one of the best runs that a filmmaker has had out of the gate. Tarantino's the same, but his run didn't get bad. No luck with Bill yet. I got to try again. Maybe after SDCC. There's a pitch out there for somebody else that I'm trying to get after SDCC. That would be also awesome. But yeah, I'm going to get them at some point. I have to try and get a favor from somebody, maybe to put a little like, oh, you should do this guy's podcast in his, view. Canadian animator, Tron cartoon, and some shorts. Did Robert work with Kennedy on Tron? I will look him up. Yeah, for sure. What's up, Mark? Hope you're well. Yeah, he's a great artist. I've never read any of his stuff, so I'm just familiar with what I've seen on Instagram for his stuff. For anybody that's just coming in, don't forget the like button. Next week, Bendis is on the podcast, and my web store is open on the website on westcoastavengers.com. I'm going to be listing books, much like Japan Book Hunter. Hope you're doing well, brother. Are you coming down this weekend for Fantagraphics for Short Run? No, Hot Off the Press. Bill is the best stories. Yeah, I mean, look, This thing when I am thinking or pitching an interview or I've got one booked, like shower thoughts are me. Like I'll just randomly think of questions that I want to ask people. With Sankevich, like I would need, I mean, honestly, like I could see talking to him for 4 hours because it's like I want to know about the early part of his growing up into the comics world, starting, into Moon Knight, but then like talking about Frank Miller. But I have like a short box and a half of his work, and there's books that he's done. Like I don't know, I'm sure some of you know about this, but there's a book, it's a one shot. It's a Mad Hatter one shot that DC did in the early or mid 2000s or 2010, and it's Keith Giffen inked by Sankevich. Like I want to know about that book. Yes, he did. What was what did I put out? Oh yeah, the working with Kennedy on Tron. Sam, I've talked to Tim in person. I think the best interview he's ever done is the only interview that we're ever going to want to see is the one with Ed and Jim. And I think that was in person. I don't know. I mean, he was friendly at Emerald City. I'm not saying that he's not friendly. I don't think that I am the right person to interview him. Bill might take 5 stream of consciousness showers. But Bill is on the top of my list of people that I still have yet to interview. Alex Ross is up there. I'm hoping I can get Ross on for when whatchamacallit comes out, when was it Marvel Multiversity from Abrams is coming out in the late summer, early fall. I mean, there's some people on my list that I'll never get, like Barry Windsor Smith. Image wise, I'd love to talk to Valentino. I really love to talk to Jim Lee, but I don't think the Jim Lee interview will happen until, honestly, like, let me just be egotistical for a second, until I'm on top, like until I'm the comics podcast that every single industry professional knows who I am. That's when I'll get Jim Lee because of his position, being president. I can talk about the fact that, like, even I've been on and off talking to Marie Javins, and I don't think I can get her on because of her position, like her actual corporate position as the vice president. I've had Tula on with Becky on this channel. Tula said she would be happy to do a solo interview. I just need to reach out and get it scheduled. I love Tula. It's interesting. I don't know what Terry Austin looks like. I've never seen him do an interview. I mean, Terry Austin's got a storied career in my eyes. Same as Klaus, Klaus Janson. I mean, here's the funny thing. If I can get Todd on again, I consider Todd to be one of the greatest thinkers of all time. Like, he's up there in that conversation because, when he inked his own stuff, it was the most incredible of his artwork. But then he was inking Capullo. He was inking Spawn on and off for 2 decades, 2.5. So it's like, I want to talk to Todd about inking. Oh, he did? See, I have no clue, Derek. This is all new information to me. Yes, Dan Moore would be great. I'd love to eventually have him on. Oh yeah. I had Allred on this channel about 2 years ago, and we did, like, I want to say it's over 2 hours. He's one of my favorite people to talk to. And I know that next time, like whenever him and Mark Russell put out their next book or whatever he's doing, I'll have Mike on again. Mike's great. He's really, really retired. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so he might not want to do interviews. He might not want to even talk about comics. Who knows? I reached out to Skybound, and the publicist who who's helped me out before, she said he wasn't doing like any long form interviews right now or like around SDCC, but she knows that I want to do a long form interview with him because I want to talk to him for like 2 hours. I think Kirkman's one of the most not just enthusiastic and engaging person in comics, but like one of the most important people in comics in the last 20 plus years. Oh, you're going to love it. Like we talked obviously about comics. We talked obviously about like his work, but you know, the stuff he loves and Kirby. We talked so much about movies and music. Like he is Mike Allred, if you've never met him before, like one of the most genuinely kind and like good humans. Like when you meet him, he'll look right at you and talk right at you. There's no everything else is whatever's going on. Like he'll focus on talking to you. He's such a great guy. Sam, I pitched Bisley 2 weeks ago in person, and let's just say I have his info and I've reached out to him. I have not yet to hear back from him yet. He's a very elusive human being. Very nice though. Yeah, Nathan, I got to read more of his work. I'm not a detractor of his work. I'm just not a huge fan of his work. So it's like, I'd have to find something that really speaks to me. I know that like, what's the book? The Last Driver. It looks interesting. I might try it and then reach out. But, I don't want to put people on my podcast that I'm not a fan of. That's really just what it boils down to. Daryl McDaniels from Run DMC. I mean, he would be fun to talk to. And he's been involved in comics for what, 20, 25 years. Like I feel like I saw him at Comic Cons when I was a kid. No, I like Jeff Lemire. I need to read more of Jeff Lemire. The last Jeff Lemire I read Trillium, I read Sweet Tooth, I read Underwater Welder. I read all the early stuff, and then he started doing too much and I lost track. So Brad, when we talk, you can let me know what in the last 20 years of his I should read. I just don't have all the time in the world, right? Yeah, that's Mike Allred. Like he is, as the kids say, he is locked in as soon as you start talking to him. I really like the Silvestri interview. I think it would be cool to get him back on and talk about the craft of drawing, not about his career, but the nuts and bolts of creating. I thought about that. You know what I'd love to do with Silvestri? It's just a shame that we don't have one. If we ever get an artist edition that's just his stuff, I would love to have him on and then flip through it and have him talk about the stuff. There is an element though that like I have got to, like a guy like that, unless he was very friendly and we talked and he definitely said, he's like, if you want to do something again, let me know. But I feel like there's got to be a level of promotion with those Image guys like him and Todd. Larson's a different story. That guy doesn't give a shit about talking about his current work if he doesn't want to. But like, there's an element with those guys, he runs Top Cow and Todd runs his stuff. Like they got to have the space to promote their stuff. I got to say, I love all the Eric Larson podcast apps. Is there a watch or a playlist somewhere? Not for Larson. What my suggest is there's 2 on this channel. And then I think there's the next one is on Direct Edition. When I first started Direct Edition, I was porting over the interviews from this channel to that to kind of fill up the space. But I've had Eric on 3 times. One was at Dave Enger Con. I think there was one before it and one after it. I only know Josh Williamson by name, Raymar. I've never read any of his books. The Energon universe isn't my jam. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, Eric connected me with him. I texted him and I was like 6 days ago and I don't even think he looked at the text. So if you could put in a word, just say that I messaged him on whatchamacallit, on what's that app? The texting app that everybody uses for overseas people. Somebody say the name because I can't remember it. Oh, Simon, don't worry. That's in the works. And maybe I do it with Jared and Zach, or maybe I just do it separately. But yeah, that's already in the works. I like David Mack, and I think I think I would like to have David on at some point, especially after having Bendis on, because they're so close. But WhatsApp, yeah, WhatsApp, that's it. But I do like David Mack. Yeah, I've always been attracted to his artwork. Admittedly, I haven't read any Kabuki, but he's somebody that I do respect heavily. Yeah, that's the thing. I always saw him at New York Comic Con. That's probably one I would like to read, Daryl. Yeah, Black Hammer. It's like, I know it's a pretty vast amount of books, but it's all stuff that he created from scratch, right? Sorry, Raymar. The thing is, I think I've talked about this before. What's up, Dylan? My childhood, like, I think there's people that love Transformers, G.I. Joe. I was a Star Wars kid, a He-Man kid, and a Turtles kid. I owned Transformers, but I never really cared about G.I. Joe. So the Energon universe, it's like once Dan left, I was like, okay, it's just not my thing. And I'm sure they're good books. And I know Larry Hama obviously is the creator or partial creator of G.I. Joe and all that. Super respect him. And I love, I had some of those books when I was a kid, but I just, there's no part of me that runs to want to pick up the Skybound Energon stuff. Oh my God. I love Maria, but I like talked to her once and it lasted an hour. If I had her on the podcast, dude, I'd have to be like, oh, my internet went out at like hour 12. I mean, but I do love Maria. She's awesome. And she's a great conversation. Like, she's a talker and I like that. So not out of the question or anything. It's just, I'd have to like be like, yeah, we'll do 60 minutes. Awesome. Yeah, I've heard that. Sam, I believe I have the signed hardcover of it, so I have it on eBay. I could probably just pull it out of the box and read it. So it's interesting. I don't dislike Paul Pope. I think I like his art, but I've never connected with THB as the comics. So maybe I should try and go back. I flip-flop, but the more that I look at his work, the more I'm like, I like it. I've seen some originals in person, and that's really what I like about his artwork. Interesting. Okay. All right, Sam. By another Daniel Warren Johnson. Oh, you don't know. I recorded with him on Monday. The episode's out July 27th. And that's why most of his books are on the back wall, because I recorded with him 2 nights ago. And it's about a 2-hour interview. And we spent about the first 45 minutes talking about Chain Kata. So yes. Not going to lie, Transformers went way downhill after. That's what I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, and I mean, I think what Dan brings to comics, it's a unicorn style situation. Like, nobody is really doing what he does, telling stories the way he does. Like, I don't know if you watched the Nick Dragata interview, but Nick mentioned that. It's like, even Nick recognizes there's something about Dan that that we're just not seeing anybody else come close to it. And I mean, the dude, Dan's, he really tells special stories. Yeah, Maria is very social, and that's awesome. I love that. Honestly, been downsizing. Collecting is fun, but when it's too much, when is too much, yeah. Rediscovering love of reading comics. I mean, that's and Comic Keeper. I mean, me, like, I am a reader, in that I think when I talk about collecting, that's how I kind of view it. It's like, I don't collect a lot of stuff that I don't engage with, that I don't interact with. Original art, how much can I interact with it? But I frame it. I look at it. I have a hallway here with original art. So in my eyes, I go through on a usually weekly to 2-weekly basis. Like, if I'm getting ready for a sale, I'll go through my shelves and my boxes and my stuff that I intend to keep and be like, oh, well, I've had this for a while and I've never looked at it. So let me put this out for sale, because somebody else is going to appreciate it way more than I do on the shelf. And I think that's healthy. I think you should be interacting with what you collect. If you collect records, you should be listening to them. If you collect comics or books, you should be looking at them. Obviously, I'm not telling you like if you bought a Amazing Fantasy 15, you should flip through it all the time, because like nobody wants to just destroy the value of something that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. But yeah, if you're finding that you're not looking at the things that you own that you buy, then move on and, sell them and maybe get something that you're going to love. So what you're saying, I not just will amplify, but I identify with it, and I appreciate that. Last time I saw Daryl, he was next to Bill at Heroes Con. Never got to talk to Daryl. I'm sorry. Hell yeah. Yeah, I Batman Year 100 is a trip. It really is a trip. I read that and I really like that. Pope's Batman Year, yeah. Heavy Liquid is a good one. I think I've had it like 6 times and sold it. Johnson. Sorry. Not caught up on Transformers, but G.I. Joe has been consistently good so far. Yeah, and I know that's a shared sentiment. Like a lot of people are saying the same thing. So maybe I'll try it at some point. I mean, can I grab the first hardcover and see if I like it? Going in for an operation on the 27th. The interview will be something to wake up for, and my wife and kids and that. Yeah, but Rob, Dan's, more worth waking up for. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk before then. But obviously, good vibes sending your way. There you go. The vibes headed up to Canada. Matt Kint would be great. Yeah. Man, that's a book I should. I read the first hardcover and I really liked it. Whatever, I read it 10 years ago. Kint's a nice guy. No, Brubaker. I like Brubaker. No, Low Life. I couldn't remember the name of the book. I was recording with Noah Goins today for his podcast. And we were talking about like slice of life, autobio, books. And Low Life is such, it's great. I'd love to just talk to Brubaker about Low Life. Honestly, I met him. I had a nice hour conversation with him and Phillips back in 2019 when I was working for the CBLDF. And yeah, he's a good dude. There's geniuses. There's genuineness, purity of vision, and clarity to storytelling in DWJ's work. His short story in Superman Red and Blue is the best Superman stories ever. One of the best Superman stories ever. It's only 6 to 8 pages. Yeah. That's the thing. We talked about the Absolute Batman annual on Monday night. And one of the things that he said is if I can't tell the story I want to tell, or if I don't have an idea that makes me want to write the story, he's like, I don't want to do it. And he said it was the hardest script he ever had to write because he just couldn't get it down. And then one day it clicked. And obviously we are a better universe because that comic book exists at a time that it exists. Do a Powerbomb black and white Japanese cover had me immediately think of you. Picked it up today. Yep. For anybody that doesn't know about this is one of the variants of the Duo Powerbomb black and white #1 that just came out today. It looks like a Japanese magazine. If anybody misses this week, tune into the sale next week. But yes, it was funny. I said to Dan that I hadn't read Do a Powerbomb in a while, and I got this and I sat down to read it, and I got so excited to read it again, and I almost went to pick the trade paperback off the shelf and read it. I'm like, no, read it as it comes out in black and white. Have that patience. I was like, okay, Dave. I talk to myself a lot. Yeah, and I heard Void Rivals is good. At some point, I'm sure I'll pick up these Energon Universe books and read them all. He put heart and so much immediacy into. Yeah, he does. That's what he does. Yeah. I'm still reading Savage Dragon. The new issue was fun. The new issue was really fun because it was all of the stories, everybody all the things that are going on converge and come back to each other. I think Savage Dragon is one of those books that is just pure fun. And if you are if you're if you don't like overly adult or are you know kind of bordering on X-rated books, then it's not for you. But you could just tell that like at this point in his life, Eric Larson is just, I mean, he said this in as many words, but he's just having fun making comics. Yeah, I've had Matt Wagner on. I've had Matt on 3 times in the last 3 years. Every time him and Kelly have done a Kickstarter for Dracula, I've had Matt on. But I had Matt on Dave VentureCon as a solo interview as well. So I've done 4 interviews with Matt. Matt's great. I have to figure out, and maybe I'll source the Patreon and the community here, that what would you like me to ask Matt about and Kelly the next time they come on? Because like we have kind of exhausted talking about horror movies and horror in general, but I love talking to Matt. Matt's such a great guy. Oh, did you do one? I didn't see yet, Simon. You'll have to send me a picture of it, or I haven't seen it yet. Or is that the one that you posted, but it was kind of like only half of it? Larson pushes the envelope and it rips open. Yeah, and then rips it open. Yes. I love that though. Like Nathan, in my eyes, I don't know how old you are, Nathan, but in my eyes, it's like the one guy. None of the other Image guys have really been consistently doing anything in the way that he has. Like I've watched Savage Dragon go from like a violent boys, like bloody violent comic when it started to being like, what if this character had a reality TV show and we're seeing his, the original Savage Dragon is not alive anymore, but we're seeing what's happening in his life or in the life of this family. And there's no holds barred. There's no, it's the real world Savage Dragon. Oh, nice. I remember this other one. Yeah. I've had them on. I've had him and Kelly on 3 years in a row. And then I did a solo with Kelly last year, which I was so happy with because, Kelly was one of the artists, one of like my first favorite artists that was not the Image guys. And then, yeah, I did a solo one with Matt, I say about 3.5 years ago or so. Dini might be interesting. Who I really want, who doesn't do interviews is Bruce Timm. But I to be honest with you, I like the idea of Dini. I don't know enough about him, but he's somebody, him and Paul Levitz. I was told I was talking to Kazar about it, and he said that Paul Levitz would be a good one to have. So yeah, there's people like that, kind of the guys that have been around for a while, that have done a lot of important stuff, that don't get the, as the kids say, the flowers. The flowers. Not this time though. Savage Dragon 280 has a variant last page, only available in the one version of the video. Oh, okay. It's the Osborns, yeah, except the only problem with comparing them to the Osborns is the fucking Osborn family is a terrible family now that Ozzy's dead. It was the only good one. But yeah, I know what you mean. Turned 31 in April, and you're right. It's become Curb Your Enthusiasm mixed with It's Always Sunny. Yeah, exactly. And it's fun. Like you could pick up any issue of Savage Dragon and enjoy it, and you don't really have to know what's going on. You figure it out pretty quickly. I love their channeling Kelly Jones style for the Nightfall animated movie, and that it's getting an R rating, which means it's really channeling like the violent aspect of it. Like I'm sure the breaking of Batman is going to be pretty gnarly. You just saw Paul Dini when he got when you showed me that. That's pretty cool. Nice guy, I'm assuming. Pi Par. I don't know who that is. Who's brought with the whole group of the Batman team to Fan Expo. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get Bruce Timm, but I've been told by multiple people that work with him that he doesn't really care to do interviews or be in the spotlight, which I can understand. You know who I was thinking of, which would be a huge get, which would be a iconic get. But I'd love to get Matt Groening on. Just like obviously talk about The Simpsons, but more about like the first 10 years of his career, comics, coming up with Gary Panter, Charles Burns, like that whole scene. And I wonder, I don't know if anybody's done any interviews with Groening in that aspect, like in the podcast era. All right, here's a great question. What are some good horror comics? If you love horny, sexy horror, yet Somna, Becky Cloonan, Tula Lotay, probably my favorite horror book in a long time. The Batman, the Dracula from Kelly Jones and Matt Wagner has been utterly fantastic. And then I can suggest more from Kelly Jones with the Batman Dracula trilogy he did with Doug Munch, Red Rain, Crimson Mist, and oh Christ, I forget what the other one is. What else in horror? Beneath the Trees, you said, Of the Earth, the new book from Charlie Adler and Chris Condon, very creepy. I would say one of my favorite horror comics was Lock and Key. It blends horror and fantasy, but I think you could go with horror. So there you go. There's a little list, and then some people are going to chime in, I'm sure. Paul did quite a few interviews and commentaries with Kevin Smith on Fat Man on Batman. That's right. Interesting. That would be fun to talk to him about, just Batman. Yeah. I don't know who Shane Glines is. I don't know who that is, Raymar. Dead Teenagers is really good. That book just came out, right? It's like within the last month. Pi Par is the artist on Mask right now. He's done some variants, but did a 5-issue mini called Petrol. Get that run. Petrol. All right, Micah, I will write that down. Hellblazer's great. Yeah, Hellblazer is classic. Would we consider Sandman horror? I mean, I know Neil Gaiman's a piece of shit, but the Murderer's Row of artists on that book is probably the best period of all time. Yeah. Ice Cream Man, that's a good one. Cul-de-sac. How could I forget Wayshack Watch? Yeah, Cul-de-sac is a very, very special book. Shane Glines was the artist on Batman, the animated series. Oh, yeah, I don't know that name. I just did. Dark fantasy. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Horror. What else? I mean, yeah, I would say Cul-de-sac, Somna, and Lock and Key. You're looking at two that are contained in, one story, and then Lock and Key was 6 arcs, so I forget how many issues it went, but I mean it's Joe Hill was I didn't know. It's funny. I don't know whoever here has I don't know if anybody here has read Lock and Key. I read it. My old roommate, she's like, you should read Lock and Key. You would like it. It's by Joe Hill. And my LCS told me the same thing at the time. I missed the first 2 issues, so I picked up the first hardcover and I read it. And I was at the movies with my roommate, and she was talking about Joe Hill and mentioning Stephen King. And I was like, why do you keep talking about Stephen King? He's like, oh, you didn't know that Joe Hill is Stephen King's son? I'm like, oh, it makes sense now. It makes sense now. And I've been a Joe Hill fan ever since, read all of his books, except I have not picked up King's Sorrow, his book that came out last year. I haven't read it yet. But yeah, Lock and Key gives you the creepiness like real quick in that book. I've heard that too, but I don't know much about it. And then I mentioned in the horror realm, I mentioned News from the Fallout earlier in the show. So that's definitely a great book to pick up. Shout out to Brad, Nirvana Comics, Knoxville, Tennessee, for hooking me up with a signed copy of that book. Yeah, I mean, Walking Dead's horror, and it's funny because John, like anybody knows, it's like it's the horror of humans and not the zombies. Alien, some guy named Salvation. No, don't you mean Dead Orbit? Was Salvation oh yeah, Salvation was shit, who was the artist on that? Was that Corbin? No. Brandon, you tell me. There's one called Hard Eyes. Yeah, I've heard about Hard Eyes with big monsters and amazing art that nobody seems to have noticed from a few years ago. I remember when that came out. New Event Horizon sequel comic is really cool. That's cool. I did see that on the stands, but I haven't read it. Yes, Lock and Key was great. Yes. Yeah, I gotta read it, Joel. It's just I'm in the middle of the I thought about picking it up recently and I'm in the middle of reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. So I'm like, I gotta keep with that as my books that I'm reading. Snyder's Dark Spaces dungeon was uncomfortable. I didn't read that. Oh, that's right. That's the Gibbons, Mignola, Kevin Nolan, right? McNolan. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah. Gibbons wrote it. Uh, Mignola penciled it, and Nolan inked it. Fucking great book. Yeah, her manager needs to get back to me. I've been trying to get an interview with her for almost a year. So you can. I spoke to her very briefly at Heroes. You can give her a personal reference. Um, I mean, I'm not like, oh, I got to get her on, but I was like, I pitched it, and I'm like, this is kind of a no brainer. She just got Daredevil coming out, and Grimm got greenlit for a show, and then it was like, yeah, crickets. Maybe she doesn't like me, but I did talk to her at Heroes, and I said I want to talk to you as much about music as I do comics because she's a big music head, and like our tastes overlap in a lot of different ways. Like she's a big Cure fan and big Springsteen fan, and there's just a lot of bands that like she talks about that I'm like, oh, I'd love to talk about storytelling and music and like lyrics and storytelling through music. So the fuck is that? Anyway, um, so yeah, if anybody wants to mention any other books they're reading or collecting right now, there's a lot of manga that I'm going through. Like I said, I'm about to read the second or hardcover of Lone Wolf and Cub, which is probably the next 20 or so issues. Frank Power would be one to interview. Worked on Batman animated. Mask of the Phantasm, so good. So good. But yeah, I appreciate that, Brad. But before I get going, I'm going to tell you about a couple of things that's happening. Bendis is on the podcast next week. You all know who that is. But check out the Abby Denson interview this week. This book, if you have an interest in Tokyo DIY punk, or you want to read a book that your kids will also enjoy, pick up her new book, My Tokyo Summer, which is illustrated by Uto Maru, and it's a great book. What's up, Ray? So she was on Direct Edition this week. If you need to catch up, because last week was Jeff Darrow, and then we had the Rob Guillory and John Layman were on their Kickstarter. I think has about 10 days to go for Ghost Brawler. Marvel Fanfare is so good. It's so good. Yeah, some of the Charles Vest stuff in there. There's Byrne stuff in there. There's the pinup issue, which is like some of the coolest Marvel art that I think a lot of people have never seen. I think I have an almost complete run of Marvel Fanfare, if anybody's looking. Those prints I have are dope. Which ones? The Jeff Darrow? What are we talking about, Raymond? Those are all comics and books. By the way, the Kirby zine, both volumes back in stock. You can actually just go on westcoastavengers.com and purchase them for $25 each. Oh yeah. Well, let me know. I have a couple of each. So if you ever want one, Ray, let me know. Michael Golden Spider-Man Hulk story. That's right. And I know Kayfabe covered that. That is a great one. So yeah, I was telling everybody before, if you weren't here, I'm just going to show off a couple of things. in the description below, I've got my T Public store. Only have 2 designs up. You can buy t-shirts, hoodies, all that kind of stuff. See Todd, buy Todd, and West Coast Avengers. And then, over on westcoastavengers.com, which if you've never visited my website, you probably should. I opened up a shop. So putting stuff up there, there's some adult stuff up there, you know, like Eros Comics, the Kirby zines. If you're part of the Patreon, I'm going to be dropping a special coupon for Patreon members to the store. I just want to get it more populated. There's about 50 items up here, or maybe a little bit more, artwork, all that kind of stuff. So that's on westcoastavengers.com. You can listen to the podcast on the website too. You can watch the most recent episode of YouTube of West Coast Avengers. So trying to centralize it all. And then the Patreon, $5 a month, help support the channel. The link is in my pants. It's in the description below. So I do not charge, like this content, the videos, the podcast, it's all been free. So if anything you could do to support, I gave the web store takes the place if you don't want to watch the claim sales. Obviously, the variety's not going to be on there. You're very nice, Andy. Heroic Fine Art Gallery was the team that bought the Batman group. Okay. They bought Batman? But I didn't know you could buy him. He's so rich. How much does he cost? Oh. I really want to know the Image guys' takes on how Don Simpson wrote them in Splitting Image. I bet some guys have a sense of humor about that, and there's probably at least 1 or 2 of them that still hold a grudge. They aren't horror comics, but From Parts Unknown and Gail Simone's The Ring have been top-notch stuff. From Parts Unknown, isn't that what like half of the WWE was announced? From Parts Unknown. No, what wrestler was announced from Parts Unknown? There was somebody in the 80s, 90s. Because I remember, at least in WCW, the Raven was From the Bowery, Raven. Yeah. No, I'm sure there's at least one Image founder that hates the way, if not more than one. But other than that, I think that's it for me tonight. I appreciate everybody being here. And look, I don't... there's a piece of this that I still think is wild, that 40, 50, 60 people want to be in here and just chat. I am more than happy to do these community chats every other Wednesday. And even like if I can find another day to do it, I'm happy to do it. It gives me a chance to, get From Parts Unknown was Ultimate Warrior. It gives me a chance to like see what other people are up to, what other people are reading, what people are suggesting, what we're watching, what we're liking. This has not ever really been a place for negativity. I've always tried to make it a place for positivity and the love of comics and stuff. So I appreciate all of you that were here, that have been here, that are just coming in, like Matt. Hi, Matt. Whatever you want to talk about whenever I'm able to. Next week is a live sale. So that's what I'll be doing right here in this room, selling comic booklets and comic booklet memorabilia. And like I said, Patreon, stay tuned for a lot of stuff coming up in the next week. There'll be another video. There'll be the coupon for the store. And most likely I should be able to get the the Patreon sale up next week. Hey, it's 2 Matts in a row. What's up, Matt? I hope you're well, brother. Marco, I appreciate you. Thank you for everything. And let me know when you get the thing that you're getting. Bob, always a pleasure. Well, Brandon, I appreciate it. And I can't wait to bring you more stuff and interviews and all that good stuff. Don't forget, next week, Bendis, the week after, Yatasha Womack, and then DWJ is back on the podcast on July 27th. Everybody, have a great night. Enjoy your comic books if you hit the store today. Have a great week. And stay cool if you're on the East Coast. Or come here to the West Coast where it's not as hot. And I'll have a new video for you on Sunday. Everybody have a great night. Oh, hell yeah. Of course. Send me a picture. And I'll talk to you all soon. Peace, love, and comics. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.